So now we are starting our first panel. We are covering different technologies from smart construction to predictive maintenance. This panel section is going to be moderated by Jia Liu. She is the head of the Institute of Transportation Infrastructure Engineering at the Technical University of Darmstadt. So I'm glad to welcome Jia here, together with the different panelists.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for introducing me. It's a great honor to be here, and it's a great honor to discuss with the three experts from the EU Research Network about these very fancy, fantastic new technologies. Please just let me welcome Nikos Bakalos and Mr. Francisco Javier Prego Martinez and Professor Anibal Ollero. Please come to here and find a seat where you will feel comfortable. Is there another microphone available? So okay, just one. Please just let me introduce the three experts at the very first. Nikos, you are the project coordinator of HERON, and you are a PhD of computer science, right? You're a research member now at the National Technical University of Athens, and you are specialized in machine learning and in data intensive applications and so on. And I think that the colleagues who are involved in the HERON project know you very well, but I don't know what about another projects. And Javier, you are PhD for civil engineering, and you work now, you have been working in two construction companies since 17 years. So you are someone from the practice, let's say, and you are the advisory board member of InfraROB. And what your main interest is the non-destructive technologies for infrastructure inspection, maintenance of transport infrastructures, and new asphalt materials. So it will be quite interesting for you to hear your opinion just outside of these EU projects. And Professor Anibal, you are the full professor at the School of Engineering of University of Seville. You have been here before. You gave us a presentation about this UAV URP products, and you are the absolute expert in the robotic and drone technology. This panel is not to repeat the technologies what we have spoken the whole evening, the whole morning, but we just try to figure out the gap between, let's say, the new technologies and the praxis. We have already heard a lot, mainly from the questions, just like, okay, this is the reality, and this is the new technology, so how could they meet together, or which issue are still open? And in the meantime, of course, we should talk about the future. So what kind of new technologies are possible in the future to close the gap, for example? So let's start with Professor Ollero. Please feel comfortable at first, just like your own sofa, and we just talk like with a coffee, because I think it's the best way to make this discussion. Well, you showed us today in the morning about your contribution to the project, and you showed us a picture about the bridge, a very high bridge, and what kind of data the drones can gather and so on. But comparing to the, let's say, conventional inspection works, there are data, let's say, which must be gathered. There are invisible objects. For example, there are inspection staffs, they just climbing up the bridge pipes, and they use a hammer and knocked on the bridge body to hear what happened inside. So I just wondering, is that possible to use drone technology to do that work in the future?
Well, it's a nice question. We are applying now the technologies that essentially we developed 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So in the last few years, I would say 5, 10 years, we are developing other technologies. Some of them, we realized that it is possible to fly, but at the same time, to land in certain spaces that it's difficult to land, but you can land and even crawl on that. Mm-hmm. So we have been able to demonstrate the possibility to fly, and then the possibility to have the motion of a crawler or the inspection just completely around against the gravity. So this kind of device, up to now, were not, let's say, reliable at all. But I am very confident that in the very short future, we will be able to use. So the question is, I think that technology is evolving. Mm-hmm. It's evolving very fast, and we will have new tools pretty soon, including these tools in which we combine different hybrid motion modalities, including flying, crawling, and all this. Yeah, we have demonstrated in the last few years.
Wow, that sounds very interesting that the drones are not only the objects which just flying, they can also walk, they can climb in the future. Wow, sounds very interesting. Thank you very much. The next question goes to Javier. Javier, you work as a Chief Research and Development Director in 2 construction companies, and you are the advisor member of InfraROB, which means you must have a very good overview about this automation, the construction works. But if I think about the reality, there are different kind of construction sites, like you build a highway in big size, or you have a very short section somewhere in the middle of the city. So what do you think would make really sense to apply this technology to let's say, to make this autonomous paving work?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of the advisory board in InfraROB, because it was a good chance to be today here and to learn a lot about new technologies. And regarding your question, I would like to respond with some general ideas or reflections to be, or to put here on the table the reality of the building companies, at least in Spain. I don't know if in the other countries this happens, because the reality, unfortunately, is worse than what we are saying today. Why? Because our companies, my company, has to invest a lot of money to use all these new developments. Of course, they are very interesting. They will improve our capabilities in the future, but the general reflections are related to some subjects that I want to share with all of you. First of all, are our companies prepared to use these new tools, these new protocols? In my opinion, we are not prepared. I work in a building company, in a construction company, a big size company named Extraco in the north of Spain. And we have been working for the last 15 years with the universities, knowing all the new technologies, but unfortunately, all these new tools are not especially cheap. That's the reality. A lot of you are working in the companies who offer us these tools. Of course, they are very useful, but the reflection is, who is going to pay for these new tools? Mm-hmm. Because in tenders, local administrations and administration authorities are not paying all the new developments in the contracts. We have contracts for maintenance in roads, and we must face a lot of new challenges, but no one is paying for it. Only the companies must risk their money. This is the first reflection I would like to share with all of you. The second reflection is about workers. How our workers are prepared to use these new protocols, these new tools. Unfortunately, they are not prepared. It's necessary to educate all of them. And this is, I think, one of the challenges of the industry, because there is a main gap between the industry today and the future. Today we are seeing the future. It's the present, but it will be the future. But as I'm saying, I think we are not still prepared for all developments. Of course, both projects are very good, and I'm learning a lot of new things that would improve the capabilities of the company where I work. But, for example, the CEO of the company say something like, Javier, we must focus our work in artificial intelligence. And for me it's a surprise, because first we must promote the natural intelligence, not the artificial intelligence. We are working with materials, we are working outside all the day. Of course, all programs, the softwares are very good, but there is a gap between one of the things we are saying today and the reality, unfortunately.
Okay, Javier, it sounds, still a big gap between the implementation of the technology, for example, which we have developed in InfraROB, and the reality. It's a question about money, it's the question about the people who are dealing with that. But how about the, let's say, bureaucracy or regulations? Is there any problems if you just fix a tender? Like, is there any methods to support these new technologies?
It's a good point too. Of course, there is another problem. The rules and the laws don't let us to use the new tools or the new techniques. So if we have new pavement materials, for example, and we want to use them in our works in a road, we can't use it. Why? Because the law in Spain or in Europe doesn't let us to use it. And this is a main problem. It will be an idea for a big conversation, but what about if we compare about regulation in the European community and in the United States? We are not in the top, unfortunately. We are developing a lot of new tools, protocols, technologies, but who will use them in the future? We can't. Unfortunately, we can't. Today, here, there are people for the authority administration, for the Ministry of Transport. Perhaps they know what I'm saying. Last year, it was published Orden Circular, a new order, to let us to prove sometimes new materials. But this is a great novelty in Spain. It's the first time since I've been working for the last 18 years, I've seen a new rule that led us to use a new material in a road. What about all your developments? Will we use then? Will we be able to use them in the future? Will the administration ask for them and will pay us to buy or to use them? I think it's an interesting reflection for all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Javier, for the answer. I think to develop the new technology using these AU projects is one step, but it's not the last step, which means it is very, very important to think about the simplification of the rules concerning about that, so both can go hand in hand in the future. And the next question goes to Nikos. Nikos, you are the project manager of HERON, and you have a good overview about the artificial intelligence for and machine learning, and of course here for the road inspection and assessment. So what is your opinion? Are the infrastructure stakeholders ready for that? Because I just think to implement that, you need a lot of technical infrastructure or equipment. So what is your opinion?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to contribute and to communicate this in our panel. From my side, the application of what we're calling machine learning right now, from a technological perspective, you can make the argument that it's pretty much ready. We have seen, at least some aspects of it, we have seen things, pilot projects incorporating a lot of different things. I think that the main issue in actually establishing these types of processes into companies has to do, first of all, with upskilling the actual workers, and I mean that from the road, from actual workers on the road all the way up to regulatory people, because right now it's difficult to essentially do a comparative analysis of like a very established process that has been there for years and something else, and that does not really create problem in arguing about making new investments. Though in similar aspects and in similar industries that we have seen, the adaptation process and the lowering of the cost, which is an essential part of lowering the costs, go hand in hand. So essentially, this is not like a linear process. The more you start incorporating new types of sensors, the cheaper the sensors get, the easier it is to actually apply them. Obviously, this has like a trickle-down effect, but the technological part is there right now. We need to find the business model that applies this and the way that we lower the cost to make the investment from like the infrastructure side of things valuable to them to apply it.
But let's talk about the labors. If an infrastructure stakeholder wants to use this kind of technology, what kind of qualifications does the workers need to dealing with that? It's not only the qualification of the workers. It's a lot of times it's also the process. Right now, like a lot of times, we are trying to adapt not to adapt, but to change, to keep the process the same, but to change specific steps and like put a human outside of it and put a machine learning model in it. I think it's critical to understand that these things, this intelligence that these things provide are rapidly accelerating the situational awareness that we have for infrastructures. And I think that we need to find, first of all, the way that we need to teach, the way that we interpret these results. We need to teach the way that how we deal with the robustness of those models, the sensitivity of those models,
and actually make them a tool for the worker rather than a hydrants or rather than something that tells them to do something that they know it might be wrong or they know that it might create issues later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for your answer. And the next question goes to all of you. Please just give us the answer if you just feel comfortable to answer that. I know that at least in Germany, the infrastructure holders are facing a big problem. That's the labor shortage. I mean the shortage of qualified workers. And now if we hear about that the new technologies can contribute a lot to just take the work from the people away. But I just think, first of all, they might be still some works which the robotic or a new method cannot just completely replace. And the other things is that then you need more people to dealing with the data, for example. Just can you imagine, okay, you get a lot of data and someone just sitting on the computer and dealing with this data. Do you have any experience concerning that? Is there any positive examples which saying, okay, using this technology, I just save, let's say, 20% of the staffs for inspection, but on the other side, we need 10% more people to dealing with the data, something like that. Could you please give me an example?
Okay, I will answer very generally. So I think that if you look to the history, always using new machines generate controversial. That means good and bad things. But finally, if the machines are efficient, if they do not create problems but solve problems, then finally they are accepted. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, the problem is to have to combine two things. One is to have a better machine, more reliable, and the second, and also very important, to have continuous education of the people from all the levels. So this is something that combined is possibly the only solution.
Okay. Nikos, do you want to say something?
I think one of the best arguments for this was made, I do not remember the name, I apologize, from the colleague of CATEC who presented in the first session today for the drones, for example. Mm-hmm. You see that the inspection for the drones, it's 100% reduction in traffic traffic disruptions. Why? Because we do the inspection without disrupting the traffic. And the cost for that, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, something like 12 euros per kilometer. So there is value there, but as Professor Ollero said, the new techniques and new tools create controversies. You need, from the engineering aspect of it, to increase the efficiency, to make them both cheaper, but also more reliable, more accurate, more responsive, and also to adapt your processes and adapt your people to use these machines. I consider these tools and the things that we are developing here as tools for somebody rather than a completely autonomous platform that will completely eliminate humans from infrastructure monitoring and management in, I don't know, the near future at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. Javier, do you have also something to say about it?
Yes, I agree with you. And of course, the new tools and new protocols and new technologies will improve and will improve the companies and will optimize the works. But remember, not all is digital. We have workers, we have people walking along the roads, and they have to face with rain, with the snow. They can be run over cars and so on. So all as I've just said, please don't think that I'm only negative and not positive. That's not the point. Of course, I work in the development department of the company because we want to know all developments you are working on. But sometimes the perspective is lost. It's not only technology, it's technology for human beings. We are workers. We, at least at the maintenance and construction works, we are doing physical works, not only all the day in front of a screen. That's a part of the work, but it's not the whole work. And that's something that we must remember always. So I agree with all of you. We are not at the end of the way. We are in the middle, and as Professor said, we must combine both components, the human ones and the robotic ones. In the next future, who knows? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answers. And I don't know how many time I still have. Not much. Not much, okay. Maybe one or two questions from the audience. You know, I have a very great opportunity to talk or to ask your questions directly. Yes, please.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for the talk. I'm from in-situ engineering. We participate in InfraROB. Actually, I work as a business developer. So I would like to do a little short reflection about this, the market of new technologies, at least here in Spain. And I would like to share that lately in Spain, we can find different initiatives, public tenders, connecting to these technologies. And I would like to point out just 3 or 4. For example, a new tender from Predictive, Spanish Railroad Administration, where they are purchasing drones. I don't know how many, but 500,000 of investment to provide inspections, for example, of the infrastructure. Another example, for example, is something that we participate on, a new track view system, also for Predictive, where they digitalize the whole railroad network. Other, for example, is the BM initiative of the General Directorate of Roads in Spain, or also, for example, from Predictive also, they have a public tender not finalized yet for the LiDAR and image and automatic analysis to do maintenance of the vegetation invading the infrastructure. What I mean is that I think that all of us, or most of us, are innovative agents. So my point is that we should be together with the regulators to boost the application of these technologies, as I think we are already done. But just to bring out this idea to know about other things that we can do to avoid pessimism and things like that, and to keep pushing with the technology that is the future, I think.
Well, thank you very much for your comments and experience from Predictive. Okay, so there is still time for the last question. Okay.
And thank you very much. This question is more for Javier. Yes, because I understand that you have the same problems that we have in Spain and in Portugal regarding the construction industry. And I would like to know what you think about changing the public procurement, for For instance, like having an alliance between owners, construction companies, designers, suppliers, where we can find the best solution for all and where we can participate. I think this is the point, because we are working each one in their side and we must work together. What do you think about it?
Thank you for your question. I think that it would be very good to be in touch, all the companies with the same problems. I know your company, Teixeira Duarte, because Extraco is working in Portugal. We are competitors, but we are friends too. That's not a problem. And tenders and how they are in each country, it's a great difficulty. I know how the procedure is in Portugal because I've been working there. In fact, I was working there in the Instituto Superior Técnico de Lisboa já há montes de anos. Para já continuo em inglês, desculpe. The problem is the same in both countries and perhaps in the rest of Europe, I don't know. I know Portugal, the company has offices in Panama and Peru, but specifically in Europe we have those problems. We can't use the new developments. We must invest to have them, and at the end we can't use it. Which is the solution? I think the authorities, the national authorities, should reflect about these points, because we have not any chance to change the laws. Perhaps from the European community they can, I don't know. I think here in the audience there are people from the European community listening to us. I think it could be a reflection. What can we do to solve this problem? A big problem, very big problem, because at the end the CEOs of the companies say, we are investing, but we are not getting money from our invests. What do we do? Will we innovate in the future or not? What will we do with all developments you have been doing in both wonderful projects? Who will pay for them? Will the authorities let us to use them? That's the point. Thank you. I'm sorry, because my reflection is not a solution for you, but I think your reflection is very good because we have the same problems. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Javier, for your answer. And I see that in the audience there are more questions coming, but time is unfortunately limited. So please use the lunch time to.
I think Ms. Claudia Chuca maybe has a reply to this comment because she's represent the European Commission.
Oh, yes.
And so maybe she wants to
please, the last question, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to confirm that we are looking at innovative and innovation procurement. So I will share after this event links to all the work we've put in promoting innovation and public procurement. There are guidelines and there is already the baseline or base foundation for the procurement processes for innovative products and services. So therefore you're not alone. You are supported and the initiations are already there. You just need to be aware that they are there so you can access them. Not only through projects, but also through guidelines, as I said. So I will share the links and you can start from there and you can already interact with us just by looking at the information provided, getting to know what is in the background, what the Commission is doing, because I realize in the room and I realize that interacting with you, it's easy if we are face to face, and I'm happy to be here, but you need to understand that the Commission is not there only for the review meetings or very rare interactions when we talk. Just come to any project officer you are in contact with through your project coordinator or through contacts that you might establish in networking events like this and ask, what do you have about this, where you could guide me. And today I'm happy to be here because I can guide you that we are doing a lot of work on this, and we are coming to help you because we know that there is a huge need to harmonize this at the European level. So trust me, there is a lot of work done in the background on this.
Okay, thank you very much, Claudia, for the very important and additional information. I think people who has questions concerning that, please just ask Claudia during the lunch break. Now I will hand over to the organizer. The time is over, and I wish you a good lunch time and see you. Thank you very much for your attention.